Hey, hey. Hey, everybody. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, everybody. It's Chris, and welcome to this week's episode. Super excited about this one. There is a gigantic game kicking off in just a couple of days. Super Bowl 56, Sunday, 6:30 at SoFi Stadium in California. This is going to be an incredible one, much like last week. We're still kind of figuring stuff out. As you see, we are a little more involved on Twitch and YouTube this week. We've upped the game a little bit. We're going to continue to see that progression as we move forward. But for now, I'm just really excited to get the opportunity to talk about some of this stuff. Chat with anybody who happens to find us. Well, we're gonna figure all that out as we go. So let's start with the biggest game of the week, no question about it, the Super Bowl. And this game is really interesting because we'll pull these lines over here to go to the Super Bowl. Really interesting because we see this 4.5 line. We've got Rams minus 4. Pardon me. That's where it opened, and that's fascinating to me. You don't see that very often. Opened Rams minus 4, and we're still sitting there. 10 days later, that over under has dropped a little bit. I think it opened at 50. Has dropped to 48.5. So Vegas sees not a ton of scoring going on in this game, but this is a really exciting one. Let's start with the Rams. 12-5 this season. They win the NFC West. Started off really, really well, 7-1, and then they had a little bit of a rough patch, but figured things out late, and that is the most important thing at the end of the day. The Bengals were AFC North champions to the surprise of a lot of people, 10-7 on the season. They're that team of destiny, right? It feels like this is the end. It's not a Disney movie. This isn't the Mighty Ducks. This isn't Remember the Titans. You don't always get the W at the end. Isn't Friday Night Lights? That was another absolutely ridiculous one. But neither here nor there. I think the biggest issue with all of this is the fact, and why I lean towards the Rams at minus 4, is just that Bengals offensive line. It terrifies me, and I think it should probably terrify everybody here. A lot of interesting facts. Now, it is also worth pointing out that a lot of money here is going towards the Rams. They have seen more money on them than the Bengals. And the reason I think that 4 has stayed where it is, the media's obsession with Joe Burrow. I really think it's playing a huge part, and it's leading the casual fan who is more inclined to wager on the Super Bowl than any other game more towards putting some money on it and putting some money on the Bengals, maybe even hitting that Bengals money line altogether. Because if you see, if it's only 4, why not just win outright? But that Bengals offensive line is terrifying, man. It's absolutely terrifying. They're not very good. They were 30th in the NFL in pass block win rates, 25 or worse in pass block win rates at every single position across the offensive line, tight end, and running back. They can't stop the pass rush. There's nothing they can do about it. Meanwhile, the Rams were first in pass rush win rate in terms of their defense. This is why Aaron Donald is sitting plus 1,000 right now. I think he has the 4th best odds to win MVP. Not where I'm going to go, as we'll see in just a little bit. But, it is an interesting wager, right? Aaron Donald led the NFL in pressures this year with 127. That includes the postseason. Also interesting that we have to talk about that receiver matchup. You have Cooper Kupp, who was so unbelievable throughout the entire season, against rookie phenom Jamar Chase. They were number 1 and 2 in receiving in the NFL this season. That's how good Chase was as a rookie. Kupp led everybody in the NFL with 145 catches with 1,947 yards, 16 touchdowns. Set a there's a handful of single season records which are in reach for him right now, and that he could potentially add on to the Super Bowl. Maybe that's a little bit of a teaser where I think this is going to go. Also worth pointing out, this is only the second Super Bowl, the last one being in 2008, where both of the teams were in the bottom 10 in rushing yards. So it's hard to think that there's going to be a ton of rushing. While Joe Mixon individually was third in the NFL in rushing yards with 1,205 yards, they don't get anything else. They don't get anything from Samaje Perine. They're not getting anything from Joe Burrow. I think Burrow's over-under on total yards rushing is like 2.5, but I don't have that in front of me. So the question is, can Jalen Ramsey shut down Jamar Chase? And I think he's going to shadow him. The most he's ever shadowed anyone this year was Mike Evans in the divisional rounds. 69% of the time. They really had nobody else to worry about on that Buccaneers wide receiver core, though. So I think it's probably going to be closer to 55 to 60% of the time he's shadowing Chase. But that should be the Rams' plan to neutralize Chase going into the year, which does present opportunities for guys like T. Higgins, for Tyler Boyd, and the like. So we're going to make the first of our 8 bets here today. And I feel comfortable with it. I really do. We're gonna take the Rams -4. It feels right. It feels like I said, this Bengals team was a team of destiny. And destiny ends here. Destiny ends in the face of this unbelievable defense with Von Miller, with Jalen Ramsey, with Aaron Donald, and the like. They just haven't seen anything like this so far, and I think it's going to be a struggle. We have to remember last year, everybody thought that Bucs team, they had a chance. They were going to put up a ton of points, and they were really neutralized by. The Chiefs team were really neutralized by the Bucs because the Chiefs couldn't block anybody. Both of their starting offensive tackles were out for that game, and Mahomes played one of the worst games of his professional career. Just did not look good. Did not look comfortable. He was also playing injured, but never had a chance to get back, get comfortable, and throw the ball. I think we're going to see similar things with Joe Burrow this week, as much fun as that story has been. Now, I am but one man. If you, I saw the story today that the famous gambler Jim Mattress Mac McInvale, may have said that wrong. He placed a $5 million bet on the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the Rams, and I think that's going to pay out at +170 on the money line. It's you can't win big without swinging big, right? So we go over to our next bet here, and I sort of alluded to this. I do like the Super Bowl MVP odds. Cooper Kupp is he's sitting right there at +600 at Bovada. Hard to not like these. Now, we do know that when Super Bowl MVPs are announced, they do tend to be quarterbacks, right? We've seen Tom Brady was last year, Patrick Mahomes the year before. We had a receiver in Edelman prior to that. Then quarterback, linebacker, quarterback, linebacker, quarterback, wide receiver, quarterback. Quarterbacks tend to be the MVPs if their teams win. The thing I think works in Kupp's favor here is Odell Beckham Jr., who he's going to take touches away from Kupp. He's going to take yards away from Kupp. Has potential to hit on a couple of splash plays himself, coming off his first 100-yard game in quite some time last week. So I love the odds for Cooper Kupp +600 as the MVP of the Super Bowl. And that +600 is also going to be very good to us when for this parlay, because last week we were working with a lot of negative numbers. We're forcing stuff. We're brute forcing favorites. This week we've got that +600 to build on. That is going to help really, really quick. We're going to move over to the NBA at this point, and our final 6 picks are going to be from there because, you get in trouble stacking parlays from the Super Bowl as much as I would like to. The first game we're going to look at is this Charlotte Hornets Detroit Pistons game. The Hornets they have not been good lately. They've lost their last 6, including a loss to the Bulls, the Raptors, the Heat, the Cavs, the Celtics. Now, they do make a trade, probably going to be a good trade for them, give them a little front court scoring. They get Montrezl Harrell from the Wizards for Vernon Carey Jr. and Ish Smith. The Wizards love Ish Smith. There's something about that guy. If you have him once, it seems like teams want to reacquire him. There must be value that we're not seeing as the backup point guard. But hey, it is what it is, and it was an interesting move. Now, Harrell probably not going to play tonight would be my guess. Also, James Bouknight is day-to-day. Cody Martin's out. Jalen McDaniels is out. Harrell is listed as day-to-day, but got to assume no. Gordon Hayward's out for the Hornets, and you think, oh, that's a lot of pieces missing from a team that's lost 6 in a row. That's a fair assessment. But we get to the Pistons, and you've got a couple of guys who don't matter too much in Jamarco Pickett and Isaiah Livers out. But then you have newly acquired Marvin Bagley, who came over in that fairly complicated 4-team deal yesterday, as well as Rookie of the Year favorite Cade Cunningham. And this team is entirely different without Cade Cunningham in the lineup. For the NBA, we're going to go straight money line picks here, just picking winners. And ESPN has a 55.4% of the matchup predictor going towards Charlotte. I agree with that. You see something like that, you take it. We're going to take the Charlotte Hornets minus 290, and I do. I feel pretty good about that. We may have to rejigger things here at the end because of the props not showing up, but that is all right. We'll just restart it right here, like I did last time. We're gonna start a little refresh, and again we're live on Twitch, live on YouTube at this point. Super Bowl specials, excuse me. Start off with Cooper Kupp once again plus 600 at Bovada. We're gonna head over to the Super Bowl. We're gonna take the Rams -4 at plus 110 or minus 110, excuse me. Hop over to basketball, ignore all this EuroLeague shenanigans, and we're gonna take the Charlotte Hornets money line at minus 290 at Bovada, and there we go. Now our parlay is showing up after 3 bets. We're sitting plus 24.34, so already a 3x multiple of where we were last year. Just like I said, brute forcing winners. And not that there's anything wrong with making 7 times your money, which we did last week, but we're going to see substantially bigger payouts this week. So let's jump to our next game, and that is going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Indiana Pacers. This is interesting, right? This Pacers team looks different than they did before. They make a gigantic deal this week where they send, I would say franchise cornerstone, I think that's probably fair, Domantas Sabonis to the Sacramento Kings for a package that includes Tyrese Halliburton. It was the Pacers sent Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, and Justin Holiday, and a 2023 second-round pick for Halliburton, sharpshooting guard Buddy Hield, and center Tristan Thompson, who is a likely buyout candidate, if what we're hearing is correct at this point. So this opens. The Cavaliers are a -7, or get -7 in the opening line here. ESPN loves Cleveland, 62.6% going there. The Cavs have been good. They've won 4 of their last 5, 34-21, first place in the Central Division. And Darius Garland comes back the other night against the Spurs. They have it's a 13-point win. Garland has 27. Guy's an all-star. Also worth pointing out, last week we talked about how LaMelo wasn't an all-star. He has been named as an all-star replacement. So all's right in the world. I don't see how this Pacers team, even with Halliburton, is going to be able to compete. They have lost 4 of their last 5, including a couple of bad ones, a 21-point loss to the Hawks a couple of days ago. They also get Jalen Smith from the Suns for Torrey Craig, another move that they made. Jalen and Lance Stevenson signed for the remainder of the season. As I said last week, absolutely love the Cavs here. This Cleveland team this Indy team doesn't really want to win. They're in the market for a high draft pick. Like Chet Ingram or Paolo Banchero would look really good in this roster moving forward. So we're going to take advantage of that. We're going to take the Cavs money line minus 310. And again, now look at these numbers. Look at these numbers jumping up way better than where we were last week. And wait till you see where we're going to get in some of these future weeks. We're talking about $20 to win $250K. It's life-changing money, no question about it. By the way, apropos of nothing, loved the Sabonis trade for the Kings. It's he's probably the best player that De'Aaron Fox has gotten to play with at this point. Gives him a low post presence, a calming presence, which that Kings team really needed. I made it a point last week that I didn't want to pick 76ers games because it adds to the frustration if they lose. But this week against the Oklahoma City Thunder feels like a safe bet. We're not gonna get a ton here. The 76ers open minus 12, and the money line play is going to be minus 900, but it has value to the parlay, so we're going to include it. ESPN has the Sixers winning this game 84.6% of the time. So, like those odds, again, Oklahoma City, like the Pacers, is a team who's not really trying to win this year. The Thunder are 17-37, fifth in the Northwest. Really, like I said, one of the worst teams in basketball. Lost 3 of their last 5. The only, including, I guess, one of their wins being over a very, very short-handed Trailblazers team who made a fascinating move of their own this week. But we're not going to talk about that. Hopping over to the 76ers, 32-22, first place in the Atlantic Division, and boy, oh boy, did they make the trade to the deadline. Whether you side with the value of giving everything up for James Harden, they get James Harden and Paul Millsap from the Brooklyn Nets for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, a 2022 first-round pick, which the Nets have the ability to defer until next season, and I believe a 2027 first-round pick that is top 8 protected. Would again be top 8 protected in 28, and then it becomes 2 second-round picks in 2029. But Harden will not be in the lineup tonight. Tyrese Maxey's also day-to-day. Shake Milton is out. None of that's going to matter against the Thunder, unless for some reason they decide to rest Embiid, but it doesn't seem like it's going in that direction. We are, feeling confident with this 76ers money line, minus 900. It seems like very little risk to add it to our parlay here. And like I said, minus 900. If you're looking at this, it takes our parlay so far, 5 picks from plus 5,000 all the way up to plus 9,300 at this point. So big numbers. Our next game, we're going to look at this San Antonio Spurs, Atlanta Hawks game and pull this stuff up. I originally was going to include Celtics Nuggets. I don't feel good about it. Celtics the favorites. They're Celtics -6, -230 money line. I feel like the Nuggets might win this game. And while I like the opportunity to add more plus money at minus 190 to this parlay, which would help, don't feel good enough about it to include it. Celtics made a couple of really interesting trades, as much as it pains me to say that. They get Derek White, a super underrated guard from the Spurs, for Josh Richardson, Romeo Langford, a 2022 first-round pick, top 4 protected, and swap rights on a 2028 first-round pick. They also reacquired Daniel Tice from the Houston Rockets in exchange for basically nothing. They give up Dennis Schroeder, who didn't fit there. They give up Ennis Freedom, who is going to be a buyout guy, and they give up Bruno Fernando. Getting Tice back, I can't understate this. The attitude he brings, the toughness he brings, gigantic move for the Celtics, and getting Derek White also. The Celtics got better at the trade deadline, no question about that. Like I said, we're going to jump to this Spurs-Hawks game now. So 37% versus 63% at ESPN. 63% believe the Hawks are going to win. I also side with that, which is why I am headed in this direction. The Spurs 20 and 35, good for fourth place in the Southwest Division. They get a couple of guards. They get Josh Richardson. They get Romeo Langford. It's a team of guards. Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell and the like. Josh Primo, the first round pick this year. Don't really understand what they're doing. Not to mention, first time All-Star DeJounte Murray, obviously. Don't really understand what they're doing there. I know this is a move for a draft pick and maybe an attempt to balance out the roster a little bit. Fair enough, but I wouldn't have given up Derek White for that little. The Hawks, meanwhile, 26 and 28, third in the Southwest Division. They've lost 3 of their last 5, so not playing extraordinary basketball lately. But they do have a big win over a shorthanded Pacers team a couple of days ago. Trae Young goes for 34. It feels like Hawks all the way. You never really want to bet against the Popovich team, right? But it feels right. We're going to take this Hawks money line minus 360. And now, again, look at those numbers rise. This parlay right here, $100 now wins $20,000. And there's not a lot of risk on this. You can also mitigate the risk a little bit in a number of ways that we can talk about, but there's not a lot of risk in this right now. This looks good. This looks real good. The last NBA game we're going to talk about, just because we want guarantees here. That's the goal. We're going to jump down to the Orlando Magic Utah Jazz game. ESPN has the Jazz winning this 88.1% of the time. It's actually our biggest lock of the week. And for good reason. The Magic are 13 and 43. They're in last place in the Southeast Division. They've lost 3 of their last 5. Their win was against the Trailblazers team post McCollum with basically nobody on it. They're just not very good. And the Utah Jazz are really hitting on all cylinders. Won 4 of their last 5. Big wins over the Warriors, over the Knicks, over the Nuggets. 34 and 21, first place in the Northwest Division. Absolutely destroyed the Warriors the other night in a 111-85 win. They hold Seth Curry to 16 points. Klay Thompson doesn't play, granted, but they hold Seth to 16. They hold All-Star Andrew Wiggins to 13 points on 5 and 11 shooting. This is a lock. There's no way around this. We're going to take the Jazz money line again, like the Sixers. Minus 1,000 isn't great unless it is the 7th leg of an 8-leg parlay. That 20,000 right now, when we add this basically guaranteed win, is going to almost double our payout here, all the way up to 37,797. And let's do that again. We've got one more. We're gonna hop down to college basketball, and I want to go with the lock here, the absolute lock. Biggest line, you have that Rider St. Peter's game with Rider +8. You have Wisconsin-Milwaukee, Wright State with Wisconsin-Milwaukee +8. Iona Siena with Siena +9. We're gonna go to Nevada versus Utah State, and we're gonna take that Utah State money line minus 700, and it's gonna be our 8th pick for this week. With that, we get all the way up to look at these numbers. $100 on this 8-pick parlay that does include the Super Bowl and counts on Cooper Kupp. $100 is going to win you $78,422. And look, if you don't want to spend $100, put $10 in there. you win $7,200, almost $7,300. Come on. What are we talking about here? It's free money. That's going to be it for this week's episode of In Pursuit of a Parlay. I have been Chris Horwedel. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you rate the podcast. You review the podcast on Apple Podcasts. And you follow us on Twitter at the Underdog Pods. Me on Twitter at Chris Horwedel. All of that good stuff. Once again, thank you so much for listening. And we will see you back here next week.